Hi guys, and welcome back to Playtech TV. My name is Greg, and today we're going to be looking at the ASUS ROG Rapture GT-AC5300 Extreme Gaming Router. Now this is probably one of the most advanced routers we've ever seen here at Playtech that was actually designed for home users and not commercial instances. So we've got some pretty impressive specs here for a router. We've got a quad-core 1.8 GHz 64-bit CPU, so that's actually about in line with some entry-level CPUs that are still being sold on the market today. So to see that in a router is really impressive. Now we've got the standard 8 gigabit LAN ports and 2 USB 3.0 ports, and of course a tri-band AC Wi-Fi chip on the inside, which is really what makes this whole thing as impressive as it is. That means you've got one 2.4 gigahertz network and two 5G networks. That's giving you insane bandwidth and going to give you a lot of density, meaning that if you've got a lot of clients connecting, then this is going to be really powerful, and you're not going to really notice a dip in performance when everybody's hammering it, provided your actual internet connection can keep up, of course. And you also actually have the option to dedicate one of those 5G bands entirely to gamers. So that's always good to be able to separate everything off and ensure that nobody's going to be messing up with your RAID times or something like that. And of course, the most outwardly noticeable feature is the 8 antennas sticking out of the sky, and these are multiple in, multiple out antennas. So I've talked about that in previous videos. That basically means that you're not going to have to wait for the actual router to process input and output separately. It can actually negotiate the traffic simultaneously, giving you better performance, lower latency overall. So a somewhat standard feature on modern high-end routers, but to see it at this level across 8 antennas is absolutely insane. This has got to be a beast. So we're going to go ahead and open this guy up, have a look at what comes in the box, see what you can expect when you crack it open, and then we're going to go into the features that make this particularly an extreme gaming router. So any old router you can play games on, but we're going to cover in particular the features that make this an extreme gaming router. Now the GT-AC5300 is an absolute dream to set up. Like most ASUS routers, it has a very straightforward UI and it'll walk you through the process straight away. You're looking at probably under 5 minutes from opening the box to having it up and running. Another impressive feature that I really like about this is that they actually have an app that allows you to administrate the network once it's all set up. This means that if you're sitting in your lounge watching Netflix or something like that, and you want to make a change to your network, you don't necessarily have to go up and jump on your computer and log in and do all the normal stuff, or try and use like some web-based UI that isn't really designed for phones, and just to save yourself the trip or anything like that. It means that you've got an app that is specifically designed for mobile use, which is really nice and easy to use and has all the features that you'd really need for remote administration of your network. Now the app allows you to do all kinds of cool stuff, like there's the Game Boost feature, which is essentially like adaptive QoS, which will allow you to it will allow your network to basically prioritize your gaming traffic and then limit everybody else. So if you're sitting on the couch trying to play PlayStation or Xbox or something like that, and you're in the middle of a match and then someone jumps on Netflix or something like that, you can actually enable Game Boost, and what it will do, it will carve out a sort of a spot of bandwidth for you so that you can have an uninterrupted experience, and it will cut down everyone else's little allocation of bandwidth and prioritize that gaming information so that you're not going to be affected, but you know, maybe other people will, depending on your download upload speed sort of thing. There's another cool feature called Share Your Wi-Fi, which basically will just display the SSID and network key on your phone. So if someone comes over and they're like, hey, what's your password? You can just show it to them easily instead of having to go, it's 01 AB something rather like that. You know, if you're anything like me and have ridiculous passwords, that's actually kind of cool. Now, my favorite feature is probably the block one, which means that you can bring up the app on your phone. You can look through devices that are connected through the wired connection, through the Wi-Fi connection, whatever, and you can actually find a device. And if someone's annoying you, someone's messing with your internet, something like that, you can actually choose that device and then block them, which is hilarious, especially if you're, you know, if you're gaming or something like that, and someone just is downloading torrents at a crazy speed, or like say your neighbors have, you use your share Wi-Fi feature to show your neighbors your password when they came over once, and then they won't stop using it, you can jump back on and hit the block feature there. And of course, you've got all the normal functions like saving and backing up settings of your router on your phone and everything like that, which is actually a pretty good one. I like to get everything set up just the way I like it, then make a backup of that, so that if I'm ever troubleshooting in the future, I can like wipe stuff, nuke it, factory reset, and then reload settings that I knew were good and working. Now, this is the $1,000,000 question that we always get on router videos. How much better is the range than X or Y? What's the Wi-Fi like? How long will it go? Everything like that. Now, unfortunately, range is a really tricky one to deal with because everybody's got a different house. It's all laid out differently and all kinds of stuff. You might have interference and stuff like that. But we've done some line of sight and non-line of sight testing in order to show the difference between this model, the GT-AC5300, and other leading brand models in the same price range with the same feature set. Now, I'm not going to name specifically the other brands because that might start some drama, but one of them starts with L and the other one starts with N, and they both have models in the same price bracket with a very similar tri-band AC feature set. And we're going to compare those and see which router has the best range and what kind of difference you can expect. Now, we're going to start out with a line of sight 5-meter test because this is actually a terrible test for testing range, obviously, because Wi-Fi routers like this, they only really start being useful at about 2 meters range, and then 5 meters is kind of, I mean, it's no real test of range. But what this is supposed to do is kind of show that all the routers start off on a relatively even playing field, and they're all working everything like this. Now, as you can see at this point, there's about, I would say, a 5 to 10% difference between the ASUS and the other brands. The ASUS coming out just slightly ahead. Now, if we push this out to 70 meters, as you can see, the 2.4 gig performance is still roughly the same against all brands, but the 5 gig performance is actually considerably different. You're looking at probably about a 20% difference between the ASUS and the other brands. So now what we've done here is we've got a 50-meter non-line of sight. So this is typical of what you might find in most homes and businesses. Several walls, jibbed, everything like that in between. And this is probably more the performance that you're likely to see in your standard home or business office environment. So now you can see the real differences appearing. We can see a difference of about roughly 30% between the 2.4 gig performance of the ASUS and the other models. And then on the 5 gig, you can see that sort of 20, 30 roughly percent difference again, except for the N-brand model, which seems to have some crazy kind of something going on there, but it did not like those walls at all on one of the 5 gig bands. Its other 5 gig band, however, seemed to be behaving all right. So no idea what was causing that there, but as you can see, it's pretty crazy performance. Now, once again, I'm not going to name names or brands or anything like that and try and cause some drama here. I'm just trying to give you an overall cross-section of the market at this price and feature point. But I think you'll all agree the ASUS was the clear winner in terms of range. Now, let's look at some of these gaming features that, what makes an extreme gaming router overall. Now, first of all, I just want to throw it out there that there's been a shift in the market over the last couple of years. It used to be that in order to get super high performance and everything like that, you kind of had to be like a bit of a tech nerd, and you really had to get in depth and get some really good knowledge of products, technology, hardware, things like that. There was nothing wrong with that at all. That's how you end up with guys like us here at Playtech enthusiasts. However, it was a little bit of a, it increased the sort of entry point for a lot of gamers, because they thought like, man, how am I going to get into this stuff if I need a PhD to even get my Wi-Fi set up? So what I like about this gaming router is that it's really, really easy to set up and use, and the UI in it is very, very straightforward. So you can just be a normal gamer. You could be a console gamer, anything like that. You don't even have to have a PC or anything like that in order to really configure this router, get it set up, get it just absolutely cranking, and have a really nice home network there. So if you are a gamer, but you're not overly technical, but you really need a better connection, then jump on this. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. It's not going to be tricky. It's not going to be hard at all. I promise you. The interface itself is awesome. I mean, it's got really nice, cool, easy to use, easy to identify graphs for network traffic and things like that. So you can basically load it up and tell exactly what's going on straight away. And once it's all set up, you might not even use the actual user interface anymore. You might just run it all from the app, which is an absolutely awesome way of doing it, especially if you're not a computer whiz and you just like playing games. So now, as far as dedicated gaming features go though, aside from being super easy to use for console gamers, and I don't mean that as a dig at console gamers. I'm not trying to say console gamers are dumb so they need easy routers. I'm saying if you are a gamer, no matter what, you know, maybe you're just on like Nintendo or something like that. You know, some people might not even have a computer. They might not have a laptop or anything like that. They might just have their little Nintendo and that's it. So this router is awesome for any kind of gamer, really. So let's look at some of those hardcore gaming dedicated features that make this an extreme gaming router. So first of all, the LAN ports on the back. So two of these ports we can actually enable dedicated gaming QoS on. So essentially those two ports get all the gaming traffic prioritized straight out of the box, easy. Now, most gamers I know will still do that. They'll still have their router set up here and then hardwired straight into the PC. However, there is also a game boost for the whole network. So if you are, I mean, maybe you have your PC hardwired in, but then you've got your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Nintendo, whatever, on the Wi-Fi, something like that, then you can actually just jump onto the UI or on the app and then hit the game boost button, and that will actually enable that quality of service on the whole network, which will optimize your gaming traffic and make sure that no one else's Netflix or whatever is going to kill your buzz when you're playing online. Now, on top of that, it also has this third gaming specific feature called the Gamer's Private Network. So it's very much like a VPN, and it's designed to optimize your traffic through basically through network nodes to ensure that you get a quicker and latency, well, as low latency as possible between yourself and the server as possible. Now, this is all powered by WT Fast, which is a popular gamer VPN sort of service. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky one because for some people it'll make a massive difference, but for others it won't make any difference at all. So for us in Australia and New Zealand, it's a little bit of a tricky one because for our traffic to reach Oceanic or whatever servers, there's not usually that many nodes between here and there, unless you're going to like, you know, Europe or something like that, which isn't very common from down here. Whereas for users in Asia, Europe, even sort of the States as well, their traffic usually gets funneled through a lot more nodes before they reach that point. So depending on what games you're playing and where the servers are located, you may see a huge difference in performance, or you might see maybe not much at all. But basically, the further away the server is and the more nodes between you and it, probably the bigger increase in performance that you're going to see overall. Just throwing that out there, letting you know, it's not going to be like a silver bullet that's going to magically make your dial-up connection turn into fiber. But if your network connection is getting bounced around a few times before it reaches the server, this will definitely help and clean that up there. So overall, I'm really impressed by this package. Now, it really is an extreme gaming router. This is a router, you know, as cheesy as it sounds, that has been designed for gaming. All kinds of gaming, all kinds of gamers are going to get a lot of kick out of this. Hopefully you've stuck with me the whole video and you learned a thing or two. I'd like to say thank you to ASUS for shooting this thing over to me and letting me have a play with it. And hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. That's Playtech TV.